It is quite evident at this juncture that acquiring a good woman is not a simple task. Many guys no longer pursue romantic relationships because they do not believe it is worthwhile to put in the effort. Women see men as emotional tampons and want all of the rights and advantages, but none of the responsibilities that come along with them. To make matters worse, they are walking contradictions. So if a man and a woman commit the same crime, it's okay if the man gets more time in prison. This is an extreme example, but it shows how women treat men like emotional tampons and want all the privileges and rights without the responsibilities. When a woman in her prime dates a young guy, society views her as a powerful woman who has choices. Yet when a man in his prime dates a young woman, society views him as a potential abuser of the young woman. Consider the example of Leo DiCaprio, who allegedly has a relationship with a model who is only 19 years old. He is a well-known actor in addition to being a wealthy businessman and a man who has status. Because he hasn't tied the knot, he hasn't had to face any of the challenges that are often associated with starting a family. As a result of this, a number of women, particularly those who have already reached their breaking point, wish to slander him. The relationship that Jada Pinkett Smith has been having with August Alsina is completely acceptable. When it comes to a potential boyfriend, what age range is ideal? I'd guess somewhere between the ages of 28 and 35 and 31 and 32. Now compare what you've seen here to what you've seen here to what you've seen from Mia Khalifa, for example. My opinion is that any male who has the desire to be with a younger woman does so because he is a predator and because he has nothing of value to offer the younger lady. When they have reached a point where they can no longer woo a man, more mature women will tell exactly that narrative. Because of this, they experience feelings of insecurity, and as a result, they engage in attempts to humiliate males by claiming that men are predators. But it's strange how all of the young women desire older men. If you listen to them, that's what you'll hear over and over again. It is acceptable to have standards, but it is not nice to have two different sets of criteria for different situations. Since you all are intelligent, I'm going to assume that you agree with this. Permit me to elaborate by saying that although everyone is free to make their own decisions, they must also accept responsibility for the consequences of their decisions. This is something that can be said about both men and women. If you have a friend who is dating a 304, and you advise your friend that she is not a good lady, it is not your problem if your friend does not take your advice, even though you gave it to him. Both Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, as well as Jada and Will Smith, provide excellent examples of this phenomenon. When a woman makes a bad choice, society doesn't shame her as easily as it does when a man does. Maybe that's because holding women accountable is toxic patriarchal or whatever the mainstream media wants to call it. For example, let's say a 45-year-old man wants to date a 21-year-old woman. He dates her for 4 years. Then he finds out that she is pregnant. He dumps her and goes back to his wife. She's hurt because a 40-year-old wants to live his best life after building it himself. So everything you just said is a man's fault. Please make sense of what you just said, because women like you don't make mistakes. I always say that these moms don't like being held responsible. Older men, especially those who have done well in life and are well established, have a lot of choices. Not only in dating, but also in many other ways. DiCaprio has VIP access to a lot of events and is very confident, so you can't think he will let opportunities pass him by. He's also smart because he hasn't signed the deadly contract that society calls marriage. It doesn't make sense that a man who uses his options is evil, but a woman who does the same is free. It's fine for a woman to sleep around in her 20s, but it's bad for a man to do it in his 30s or 40s. He woman in the last clip is partly right, because women often use their prime years to get a lot of validation, approval, and access to fun things. However, now that we're all adults, why doesn't she call out women who knowingly sleep around? The word knowingly means that many women choose to date a certain kind of guy, aka one who won't commit, but now that she's had her fun and is about to hit the wall, it's all the men's fault. The problem with post-wall women is that they frequently experience negative and harmful emotions such as jealousy, bitterness, envy, and other feelings similar to these. This is a problem because these emotions can lead to unhealthy behaviors and relationships. This is an issue since these emotions might lead to activities that are detrimental to one's health. Because of this, dating them or marrying them is not a good idea, and you should steer clear of them altogether. Having a romantic connection with a woman who is a toxic influence has the potential to drain your vitality like a vampire. Even if she bites you hard enough in the sheets, if she's in the mood for it, it does not make it funny if she takes your resources, time, energy, or all of the above from you. I am well aware that if you are a male, a woman would admire you for the things that you give to the relationship, such as your finances, your career, your social status, your self-assurance, your dreams, and your humor. This is something that I am aware of. There are a lot of things that women want in a man before they can love him, submit to him, and want to be with him. But for men, it's like, we love women for real because we don't have as many requirements. A woman in her prime doesn't want to get a guy, marry him, and have beautiful children, at least not in these crazy modern times. These girls have access to older, more successful men. When these men are gone, and she's single and has a certain past, she won't find a man her age because other girls much younger than her are getting him. That's just how things work. It's not hard to see the wall in a woman. Women don't need a man until they are younger than 30. 5. People probably say that you hit a wall around 30. I don't think so anymore. If I'm being honest, I think it takes a little longer than that because women have been sold freezer eggs and other things that make it harder for them to get pregnant. I think it happens around age 33, when they understand that other women who live in houses with males don't have to worry about certain things. This causes them to start worrying for themselves. For instance, they do not have to bother about fixing the sink or addressing this or that issue. They have their family, where they got their start. They're married, they have a ring on their finger, and they have a ring on their finger, and they have a level of security that a single woman does not have. I have no intention of causing them harm by saying these things. I say it to help you see that what you're being sold by the media is a lie, and that you're going to live that line. You may be happy living that lie at first, but you're going to be miserable living that lie soon. And the longer you live that lie and pretend you're happy, the harder it will be for you to get out of that lie. As Jedediah said, a woman thinks she doesn't need a man until she thinks she does, which is when in 2030, it's expected that 45% of women won't be married and won't have children. They might have used their prime to sleep around, but now they'll want a man who will protect and provide for them. Let me show you how most women think and act when they're in their prime, and why they're not good dates. Later, give your opinion on why young modern women keep going after guys they know will break their hearts and make them cry at night. Is it because they are narcissistic? Modern women are self-centered because they think they can change the world. They've been told they're special since they were 5 years old, so they think he hasn't married the last 35 girls he slept with. So why will he marry me? I'm going to change him. But why doesn't that lesson stick? It makes sense the first time, but the second time, you don't realize that the first guy cheated on all his girlfriends and me. So even though this one is also hot, you're not going to be any different. The memo goes to the fact that there's not much going on up here, or I just think, well, we were sold a dream. He said he wouldn't cheat on us. But he, a woman who made bad decisions, can't blame you for making your own. She had her fun, so to speak, and now she has to deal with men her age going out with younger women. If she tried to turn Chad into a loving husband, that's also her fault for not dealing with her expectations in the right way.